The majority of people are not naturally evil. Most of us are brought up in loving families that teach us right from wrong at an early age. And I would suggest that these first lessons stick with us even when evil deeds are undertaken later on as adults. Humans are basically good, and it is hard to escape justice because of this fundamental truth. It is due to this instinctive human programming that people will not typically go along with evil schemes. And even when they do, it is often down to a belief that what they are doing is good, rather than something bad. It takes a particular technique to make people do evil things, and it is an inversion of the truth. For an act that could be seen from afar as evil to be carried out by an innocent person, a close-up action needs to be instigated that is positive in nature. People like to help and to do good. Doing things for others is sold as a caring characteristic to have. So if an evil act can be misconstrued as a good one, then people will be more likely to carry it out. For example, a friend asks to borrow some money until payday. As their friend, you let them without thinking too hard about it. The friend then buys a black market gun with the money, and they commit a robbery using the weapon. You ultimately get your money back, and are unaware of what has transpired. You see, people will rarely perform an openly evil act, no matter how hard you push them. This reveals the shape of the human deception play, and how it needs things to be hidden so that truth can be perverted. A quick note on that subject. People may look upon Hollywood actors as being the best in their field, but there are a great many people, real-world actors, who are acting out roles with you every day. Some of them deserve an Oscar for their portrayal. So, the setup here requires two things from those who wish to corrupt others. Firstly, a person who is not very intelligent. Secondly, a compartmentalisation of the knowledge which that person has. With these two things in place, an orchestrator can instruct someone to take an action which may be benign in and of itself, but how it fits into the larger plan is unknown to them. The perpetrator of the evil action may never know they carried out evil or the larger plan into which it fits, and they may never learn of the role they had. They may even consider what they did to be loyal and honourable, and they may feel better about themselves for having done it. They were just doing as they were told, doing like others around them do, or being part of something bigger than themselves. Stupidity is an easy word to say and accuse others of, but in reality it is a complex subject. Stupidity is not necessarily that someone has low intelligence, although that does happen. Rather, it is that they have been taught not to ask questions, and they have limited, ignorant beliefs. If one looks at our society, then it could be suggested that people are made stupid from an early age, with schools teaching them conformity and simple memory recall over more important things like critical thinking and psychological awareness. Later in life, friendship groups narrow one's outlook, and further education and jobs continue to concentrate one's thinking into a box. That makes one appear to be like the others around them. All of this is then reinforced by beliefs in society and myths about who each of us is. In this echo chamber, people have limited room for thinking, literally outside of the box. If they do so, they are ostracised from their groups, their friends, their peers, and even their family. So people mostly stay within their lane in terms of beliefs and outlook and behaviour. Well, most people do. I never could. Compartmentalisation, then, is the idea of giving people only enough information to do what is asked of them, and not enough that they start to question the larger scheme, or see that things are not the way they've been told they are. Overwhelmingly, it is outside forces that control people rather than internal genetic things. From TV news, online media, company policies, law and religion to maybe a single powerful and charismatic leader, we are bombarded with a sense of normalization of the things that really should not be normalized. Compartmentalisation makes groups of people think and behave in a certain way. This behaviour can be shifted at will by a controlling force. You may be familiar with the latest thing meme. This shows the spread of the newest message to believe as given by the establishment, and you may have noticed how huge swathes of individuals switch seamlessly into this new belief system as if the prior thinking was never a reality. It makes me laugh when these things go round in a circle, such that the new arguments invalidate the old ones. For example, recently a media outlet encouraged people not to hang their washed clothes outside on a line in the summer sun, which we've been having a lot of this year. This is because the summer is bad for allergies, and pollen and such could get stuck to the clothes and cause people distress when they wear them. Instead, they suggested that people dry their clothes in a tumble dryer. This is during the summer, with high temperatures, clear skies, where drying clothes is free and quick, and a lot better for the planet. In years gone by, this behaviour of using an electric tumble dryer during perfect outdoor drying conditions would have been scandalous due to the completely unnecessary environmental impact of using electricity to heat and dry clothes during the summer. But now we've come full circle, and the unthinking majority have attacked those who suggested drying clothes outside for free was a good thing. It's gotten so bad that parody accounts on social media have sprung up claiming to be clothes drying marshals who will check your washing lines to make sure they are not in use. The lines between right and wrong, you see, blur over time. The wheel turns, and the manipulated ones will argue the case of their masters with zero thought to their prior position on things. Such is the desire to please those above one. All done in the hope of obtaining a leg up for oneself. But returning to the beginning of this piece, people pretend that they haven't done bad things to try and hide their actions. This is because of an inbuilt human sense of right and wrong. This is taught to us when we're very young, and thus it's a very strong governor of our deeds in life. Even if the individual has lost any conscience they once had, they will still know that good will win over evil, and thus they play a game with others so that the evil remains hidden. In this vein, great evil can be hidden from the masses as something other than the truth, and heinous things can be carried out under a smiling, well-meaning banner of love. However, when the truth is uncovered, which it almost always is, the emperor is finally seen as naked, and the people flip-flop on their positions to attack those they once defended. Good always wins, because when evil is revealed, we all know it is repugnant to those we care about. While it may take years for the switch, and the evil ones will go to great lengths to keep things hidden for as long as they can, the revelation happens more often than the manipulators would have you think. It is because of this fragility to the evil schemes that totalitarian control over everything is sought by the perpetrators. Only complete control can mask all of the lies told and the evil deeds carried out. But this is thankfully very difficult for anyone to achieve, and thus it rarely lasts. It's like that Bible passage, Revelation 12:12. This speaks of a short-lived triumph before ultimate defeat. The verse says, "The devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury because he knows that his time is short." Of course, this is the pattern of humanity. How else could it be? If we look to our history, the terrible acts, deeds, and control of populations have, in the main, been thankfully short-lived, and they have been converted to a better situation for a much longer duration. Always remember this when worrying about the power of evil. If the situation was hopeless, their propaganda would be unnecessary. Good wins, and if it's not winning, then just wait a while. Finally, what of the leaders of compartmentalisation, the salespeople of evil? How can they do it without conscience or without remorse, given the above holds true? Well, thankfully, truly evil people remain few and far between, and they will likely have some horrible background story that means they've bypassed the normal human experience. Maybe it is a mental condition like narcissism, making them think that they are superior to others. Or maybe they have a medical affliction that makes them less than perfect specimens, and they take out their hatred on others for the bad hand they have been dealt. But they are out there, and examples can be found throughout history of individuals like Ted Bundy, to holders of authoritative positions like Dr. Harold Shipman, or maybe leaders of populations like Pol Pot. These people are wolves dressed up in sheep's clothing. Now, a few people like this will always exist, and you will mostly find that they too hide under the mask of goodness. For example, some may be holding a responsible position in society right now. They might be being recognized for their charity work, or being a children's entertainer, for example. But despite this, they are, as I said, not very numerous, and thankfully for all of us, the power of good is greater. In fact, this power of goodness is unmatched in human society, and it can never be defeated by the evil ones. And the best evil can muster is a short, sharp shock before it's kicked back once again into the abyss. Evil will always project strength and ultimate control through boastful rhetoric, but it is in fact a very weak force of nature, and that force cannot be sustained. Remember, strong people stand in the truth, and it protects them. Evil people lie, and their house of cards inevitably falls.
Schools train people to be ignorant with style. They give you the equipment that you need to be a functional ignoramus.